When Sean Diddy Combs got hit with a 50-month federal prison sentence, the internet practically exploded, shock, memes, and pure disbelief everywhere. But according to Michael Franzese, a former Colombo family capo, who's done serious time himself, Diddy's real trouble hasn't even started yet.
Normally, nobody's looking to shank you. When you get into the higher institutions, when people are doing, a ton of time and there's no way you can benefit them, then you got a little more problem.
Maybe if he'd be in a camp type situation, that's a possibility. But based on the lifestyle and what he's done and what he's accomplished, if he had to go behind those bars for a lot of years, I think that he may commit.
Franzese pointed out that, despite all the chaos in the headlines, Diddy's lawyers actually handled a pretty explosive situation like pros. According to him, the judge took everything into account: the non-stop controversies, the wild media circus, and the emotional pleas from Diddy's family. When it was all said and done, Diddy ended up with a little over 4 years, a sentence that, insiders say, could have been way tougher.
Disappointed, although he really shouldn't be. I think, a 4-year sentence here with already credit for the year or so that he has in, I think he did very well with respect to all of the drama and all of the circumstance around this trial. There was a lot of bad stuff out there, and I'm not saying, I'm not passing judgment on that, but it just looked really bad, and he could have gotten up to 10 years or 11 years. So I think the judge, took everything into consideration. I think his family today made a very good plea for him, and I think he did very well. That's my opinion.
So in your experience, like your own experience and other, inmates that you've seen go through it and then show back up at the cell block, how do they take this? Do they bury their head in the pillow and cry, or do they keep their head held high and just pack up their stuff and wait for their assigned new prison? Like, tell me everything.
Well, everybody's different. I'm sure he went back was somewhat disappointed. So he's probably, dwelling on that. Hey, it could have been differently. Maybe I should have gotten out. Maybe he's a little bit upset, a little bit angry. I get it. All those emotions come in.
There's a whole system that decides where someone like Diddy actually serves their time. While a judge can suggest a facility, the final call always comes down to the Bureau of Prisons. And given Diddy's massive fame and the media storm around his case, chances are slim he'll end up in one of those cushy minimum security camps, the ones nicknamed Club Fed, with open yards and chill vibes. Instead, because of his high profile and potential security risks, a medium security prison seems like the far more likely destination.
He's got to get ready. He'll spend a couple of weeks there until they designate him to a new facility. And he'll be a lot better off in prison than he is in the federal jail. At least there you can move around and you got some freedom on the yard and things like that. My thought is he'll collect himself, get himself together. There are ways for him to improve himself. They have the Bureau of Prisons now has a drug program. And if you're allowed to get into that drug program, you can knock as much as 18 months off your sentence. Now, I don't know if he'll qualify, if they'll allow him to go in, but he'll probably start to think about, okay, what can I do to reduce my time now? That's what everybody thinks when you get in there. Is there any way we can better ourselves? He's thinking about what facility they're going to send him to. I'm sure he spoke to his lawyers and he asked his lawyers to put in a facility that's close to his home, close to his family, a low or medium level. I don't think he'll get into a camp.
Can you though? Does your request actually count? I mean, I thought the feds just put you where it works for them. I didn't think you get a say in it.
Well, here's the thing. You could ask the judge to recommend. The Bureau of Prisons doesn't have to go along with the judge's recommendation, but it does help a little bit. They do try to sometimes satisfy the judge's request. You can put in a request, and sometimes they'll honor it.
Franzese, been there, done that. He knows exactly what that world feels like. He talked about his own time bouncing between low-security camps and tougher prisons. The camps, he said, were wide open, no fences, just trust and routine. But one slip-up, a bad transfer, or a simple oversight could land you right back in a harsher setup. In the end, Franzese stressed, Diddy's real challenge won't just be where he's sent, it'll be how he carries himself once he's inside.
The lowest security and therefore more paddle and tennis and all the other things and what they call Club Fed or Camp Cupcake?
Yeah, they moved me to a camp by accident at one point, and there's no fences or anything like that. And I wasn't there for too long because they realized they made a mistake and put me back in the medium security. But they tell you when you get there, listen, there's no fences. If you want to leave, you can leave. But when we catch you, we're going to add another 5 years onto your sentence. And while I was in that camp for 2 months, each month somebody ran away. I mean, they always try to do that. But yeah, he's thinking of that. Yeah, he's thinking of that. But a medium security is not that
so
bad.
let me quickly go back though. Go back to that piece about he's high profile, so he won't get a camp. Why wouldn't he? I thought in a camp nobody's going to shank him because again they want out.
The overriding factor there, I believe, is he's a guy with a lot of money. And I'll tell you, this happened to me when I went in there because of the profile I had, because of the way they wrote me up. I had everybody and their brother inmate trying to do a deal with me when I got out, a business deal. They need money. Because of the fact that he's a money guy, I think he's going to have more friends than he will enemies. And in a medium security, normally nobody's looking to shank you. When you get into the higher institutions, when people are doing, a ton of time and there's no way you can benefit them, then you got a little more problem. But in a medium security, I don't think he'll have an issue at all. I really don't. He can be too much of a benefit to inmates that are always looking for something. And he could be a golden ticket for some people, at least in.
For Diddy, the real test is just beginning, one that no courtroom could ever prepare him for. The isolation, the bare bones routine, the distance from his world of luxury and fame. It strips everything down to raw reality. Prison has a way of forcing honesty that stardom never does. So what's next for him? His legal team is pushing to keep the hip-hop mogul somewhere closer to family, in a safer, more rehabilitative setting. But not everyone's feeling sympathetic. His former bodyguard, Gene Deal, insists Diddy doesn't deserve the pity people are throwing his way.
The artist got him dropping to his knees at the time of the verdict, crying on the chair. My heart goes out and it says, come and feed them beans. I can care less about his sadness. I can care less about him being in pain. I can care less about what he has to be faced with in court or in jail now. I don't have no remorseful feelings for him, bro. You understand? This is somebody that at one time I would have given my own life for. And to know this nigga was trying to get people to take my life because I was trying to teach them to be right by people and tell them to be right by people. I have no remorse for this dude, bro. To see him like that, I know there is a God. And you can feel all the way you want to feel about me. You can say whatever you want to say about me. But karma is a mother. And if it ever gets back to you when you have done somebody wrong, not just me, I'm not saying me. I'm saying when you have done people wrong, you have done goals of people wrong. To see him on his knees begging like that, I would say something, but the LGBT community will be after me. So you'll never hear me say it, so I don't want to get in trouble with it. But bruh, I'm happier than the faggot in the barrel of dicks to see him like that.
On Monday, Diddy's defense team fired off a letter to Judge Aaron Sub asking him to recommend that the Bureau of Prisons send Diddy to FCI Fort Dix, a huge low-security federal facility in southern New Jersey. Attorney Tenny Geragos argued that Fort Dix would give Diddy the chance to tackle his substance issues while keeping him close to family and focused on rehabilitation. The prison runs a well-known recovery initiative called RDAP, the Residential Drug Abuse Program, an intense 9 to 12-month course that helps inmates rebuild their lives and can shave up to a year off their sentence. For someone with about 3 years left, that's a serious boost. But Gene Deal isn't buying it. He believes Diddy's past saving and says the sentence he got is exactly what he earned.
Good. I don't have no sympathy I never have sympathy for somebody who is trying to take me from mine. You understand? Was he thinking about when he was telling people to get at Big Gene, to do this to Big Gene? Was he thinking about what if them dudes would have did that? Would he been thinking about me? Nah, bruh. Would he broke down and start crying for me? Nah, bruh. I don't have no sympathy for him. To see him like that, I know God is good. And God showed him. He can make you, he can break you. And I'm going to say it again. You might get flagged for this. I'm happier than a faggot in a barrel of dicks, bruh. Don't you see the smile on my face? Bruh, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't have no sympathy at all. Because I know he could play all the games he want to play. Did he have sympathy when he said, I don't give a fuck if Pac gotta die. I don't give a fuck if Big gotta die. Suge Knight can go to jail. Did he have any sympathy when he said to Wolf, I don't need you no more? Meat said, I don't need you no more. Set him off. Do you have sympathy when he told D Ferg, nah, I can't do that. Nah, I don't f with you. Nah, I can't do that like that. Did he have sympathy when he said to Wolf Mama, your son has delusions of grandeur. All he want to do is smoke weed and get high. Do you have sympathy for the notorious Big Mama? Talking about, I didn't go to the funeral. He ain't go to the funeral. Did he have sympathy for Craig Mack? Do you have sympathy for Black Rob to make sure he did the right thing by them? And he sure didn't have no damn sympathy for me when he told dudes to come at me. So looking at those pictures, bruh, I could tell you just like this, with no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I'm happier than a faggot in a barrel.
Over the years, Fort Dix has hosted plenty of familiar names, but for Diddy's legal team, the attraction is clear, it's close to home, family visits are easier, and it offers a real shot at rehabilitation. Still, not everyone thinks it's the right fit. Christopher Zukis, author of the Federal Prison Handbook and a consultant who guides defendants through the system, describes Fort Dix as unpredictable. He's warned that despite its calm, orderly appearance, the prison has struggled with gang issues, smuggled contraband, and chronic staff shortages. And for Diddy, that could spell real trouble because many inmates across the U.S., especially at Fort Dix, are still die-hard Tupac loyalists. To them, Diddy's arrival might not just be news, it could feel personal.
Hey, yo, listen here, man. This guy's life might be danger over here because people think that he has something to do with Pac. People think he has something to do with Biggie. Some of the people are still mad that he made making of the band walk to Brooklyn from, to get the cheesecake, and just around the corner from the Cheesecake Factory. So, Juniors. So it might be some dumb shit. So y'all need to get him out of here and ship him to Jersey because somebody gonna kill him over here. Those are good arguments, if you want to call it, but it's bullshit. He gonna get the same treatment no matter how much money he got from them correction officers. Because if they don't and they get caught giving him preferential treatment, they're gonna lose their job.
So you feel like Pac fans will try to do something to him?
Pac and Biggie fans. He can have issues with both of them because a lot of people think, because of the statement that Keefe D made, that he did something to Pac. A lot of people know or think that because of Biggie leaving, they finding out that Biggie was leaving Bad Boy, that he may have had something to do with Biggie. People feel that way. You hear it all the time. You see it all the time on...
In fact, he's recently hinted that Diddy's arrest for Tupac's murder might be closer than anyone expects, all because Keefe D is reportedly threatening to pull back the curtain and expose everything.
His trial begins in February, and, you know, his defense is the reason why he killed Tupac is because of Puffy. Puffy, he put a hit out on him and Suge, and I don't know, man. It ain't looking too good for Puffy.
Brother, you know what? With a trial, you can't only use circumstantial evidence. You have to have some kind of physical evidence. There's no physical evidence that Keefe D or has something to do with Pac's death. There's circumstantial evidence. There's people that could probably testify of what somebody told them or heard. So now, Keefe D lawyers and them did a great job when they did trial by judge, because the judge is looking for physical evidence. What ties Keefe D to Puff? What ties Keefe D to the Tupac? And how could they prove that either one of them has something to do with it? Somebody would have to get on the stand and say that I saw him, he told me, and they want to have to believe them. The Bloods was laying people down, but behind Pac getting shot. It was a big, it sparked a big gang war out there. So, if they want to pull Diddy into that, they got to mitigate circumstantial evidence. Anybody could be a witness for you, but what can they prove? Somebody's going to have to say, I heard this conversation. This was a handshake or a nod or something went down, and it's going to be hard to prove. It's going to be hard to prove. Unless they follow the money.
That said, low security prisons like Fort Dix tend to be more laid back compared to medium or high security ones. There's more room to move, but also more accountability. Inmates have to keep their behavior in check if they want to hang on to their privileges. In the end, the Bureau of Prisons will have the final say on where Diddy serves his time. The judge's recommendation might carry some weight, but it's far from guaranteed. The Department of Justice has already confirmed it won't interfere in the placement. Still, wherever Diddy ends up, he'd better hope he steers clear of the wrong crowd, especially any old-school mob guys, who might still have a score to settle.
Stuff to please himself. And look, after talking to all the male escorts, I got a very clear idea that Cassie was with it.
Oh, listen, I say all the time.
Cassie was with it. She would pick out the guys. She would want to do stuff with the guys, even when the guys were over it. You know, she would run into the guys randomly and then call Diddy, said, oh, I saw so-and-so downstairs. Let's call him up. She didn't have to do that.
Diddy was Nino Brown. Cassie was G-Money.
Okay.
That's just a fact.
Right.
Like Diddy was.
She was like, you know, Epstein and what's her name?
Giselle. But what happened was, G-Money wanted out. G-Money got tired of, you know, the treatment that they were experiencing at the hands of Nino Brown. So they wanted out. I mean, we can't sit here and act like there wasn't, you know, text messages where she was, you know, explicitly saying like, look, man, you treat me like a rag doll. I'm somebody's child. Or, hey, this is not what I want to do right now. So, but to your point, yes.
And she could have left at that point. Right?
We saw her try to leave and we saw how that played out. He chased after her in a towel and pulled her to the ground and beat her up.
Well, yeah, that was horrible, but that was one instance. The next day,
that's all it takes.
The next day, you could have left and never came back.
It's easy to say that, but when you're experiencing that,
it is.
It's easy to say that, but when you're experiencing that kind of abuse at the hands of somebody, I can see why she would be afraid to just up and leave. And if you're thinking about it like this, if you're a person like her, you know where all the bodies are buried.
Right.
Diddy can't afford to just let
this for Diddy. Reports from his sentencing paint a heavy emotional scene. Inside the Manhattan courtroom, he broke down in tears as a video of his life played before the judge and everyone watching. I want to apologize again to Cassie Ventura for any harm I caused, he said softly, admitting his actions were shameful and sick. He told the court he's been stripped to nothing, confessing, I hate myself right now. I'm really sorry for it all. Still, many believe those apologies sounded more scripted than sincere. In a recent interview, Charlemagne suggested Cassie knows far too much about Diddy's past, and hinted that he'd never let her freely open the floodgates on what she really knows.